We talked about the three core components of Azure automation. Let's jump into Azure portal and try to create an account, automation account. So when you're trying to create an automation account, all the things would involved. So we are going to do that. Let's jump into Azure portal and try to create automation account. So you can search as automation account. So that's the account that needs to be created. So click on add. So that you can create the automation account. Click on add, and that would open up a new blade. So this is where you have to give a name without any space, and then you have to choose your resource group and location. And this is very important that you can choose the automation account type also. So I'm just giving here a name, automation account, and 01 maybe, yeah. And then I have chosen already my resource group and location as issues, if you see, and create run as account. That's the important one. If you just go through this link, it explains about all the required things and the permissions that has been given. So let's take as yes and click on create. That's going to create a automation account. Once the automation account is created, you would be actually getting here. If I try to refresh or the page, you see here one is created as the automation account, other one is the run as account is getting created. So two things got clear. That's good. So if I just quickly refresh, I will be getting as an automation account, and within this automation account I have the accounts. If I just go to somewhere in the account, so you see here this is my run as account, and this has all the service principles. So this service principle is important key where it's going to actually create within the Azure AD. When we create any service account here, it's going to actually create in the SPN, that's a service principal name, and also it grants the permissions as the contributor. So that's good. And once we have all granted all these permissions, we can straightforward and go and use the automation account. So for that, I'm going to actually take you along with the complete blade explanation of the automation account. Once we have created automation account, we can check out the navigation within this blade. You see here you have the option for configuration management, which can track your inventory, and this is for change management tracking, and this is what the DSC we call as the state configuration. With a PowerShell, you can monitor a particular state of that resources. If the state becomes changed, you can have a control on that. And this is where you're going to actually use the updates for update management for Windows servers. You can do the update management with the help of automation account, and we have a dedicated link for this. Or dedicated videos I'm going to create, and you can check out the next upcoming 2 more lectures. And coming back to the process automation, this is where you have the runbooks which will be used to automate your tasks. So these runbooks will use your configuration or the scripts that are actually part of either anywhere from the Python packages or maybe from the PowerShell gallery. So you can create and import your own runbook, and these are the default runbooks that has been created for you, and you can use any of them to use it. And coming back to the jobs are nothing but if the task is run, it will give you whether this job is success or not. And this is a collection of runbook gallery. So you have multiple things which are available, third-party people as well as the Microsoft Script Center and the PowerShell gallery. These are the source, and you can import any of the PowerShell gallery based scripts. So these are ready-madely available for you. Let's say I wanted to stop some of the Azure virtual machines, so you can do that directly. So if I just click on it, it's going to tell you, hey, I'm going to do this automation, and you can actually just click on this to get a more view on what's happening on this. So I'll just maximize this and see what happens. So if you scroll up and down, so it's going to actually run the storage account, and then it's running account and connecting to Azure. It is getting a single VM and getting all the VMs, and then merging, you want to stop, it's going to stop, and there's a notification also if it is already stopped. So this is a flow actually, and this was created by somebody else, and you can use this script. So for the creation part, we are going to have a look on it in a minute or so, but this is going to be a little bit of overview within the Azure Automation Blade. And this is a hybrid worker where we can use this as a base instead of the sandbox. You can create your own hybrid worker group, and you can run it from there. And then watch tasks, which gonna show you a watch tasks will allow you to watch any of the events that actually triggered. You can check out here. And this is where the shared resources, like you can schedule any of the workbook to be run on a specific time zone or specific time, so that specific script gonna execute on that scheduled time. And coming back to the modules, let's say you're talking about either PowerShell or maybe Python that also needs some kind of modules to run it, right? Definitely. Let's say if I want to work with a storage account, I need to have Azure.storage provider, RM provider, and this needs to be available. So if I have this module, then only it's going to work anything to do with these providers. Like I can create here get Azure storage command, all these commands gonna work if I have this module. If all these modules are not available, you can import or you can add, you can custom build whatever the modules you want which are coming out of your script. Let's say you created a script and that has some kind of package as a module, you can import it. Actually, you can add those modules so that it's going to work here. And similarly, you can also do the packages in the Python. We talked about instead of the module, we call it as a packages. So you can actually import or you can add those packages here directly. And coming back to the credentials, so these are the credentials that are going to use it, and later point you can use these credentials to attach for any of the scripts that are going to run. And connectors, this is nothing but your run as connection. That's what we talked about automation account. So what happens is when we try to create the storage account, if you remember, we talked about creation process. Within that, we have chosen as a specific account to be created. So this account in the backend, it's going to actually create the Azure service principal within the Azure Active Directory, and that will have the permissions as the co-worker permissions on against of your subscription layer. And these are the things like jobs, runbook, hybrid, all these things. Let's try to create a simple runbook that will give you an output, and we can test it how best we can actually create our own runbooks. So that being said, you can actually click on the runbooks and click on create runbook and give it some test name for this demonstration purpose, like AZ exam demo, and then runbook type. So this is where you can choose either PowerShell or Python or graphical. So in our case, it's going to be a PowerShell, so I'm going to choose as a PowerShell. So this is where you can directly put your all the PowerShell commands so that your PowerShell commands can be executed, and you can also have a look on your output view. So you see here you have the commandlets that are available. These are the PowerShell commandlets that are available based on the modules that are already available with the help of your automation account. Let's say I want to work with Azure or storage. I can simply click on that and then it's going to actually put all the required commandlets here. And if you see other runbooks, if I want to include, I can do it here. And coming back to the assets like variables, connections, so connections are nothing but your run as account. In this case, all that can be configured here within this script. It's a simple click on 3-4 dots and then simply insert. It's going to actually insert the required commandlets or whatever it is. So in our case, I'm going to write a very simple PowerShell command like write -output with the simple hello world kind of thing, so that I just wanted to show you a sample script that is when you test it, it will actually show the output as the hello world. So just to test this, I can go here and to the test pan so that it's going to actually test. We have not yet actually published. The difference between the publish and the testing is it's still in a draft. Actually, it is in edit mode, not it was not published. So when we publish, it will be available for anybody, can be used, or it is readily available mode publish. So I'm just clicked on the test one, and then this is where it's going to actually show the output. If you see here, if I thought I have any of the parameters or run settings, I can choose here and I can click on start. This would actually show the output here. So let's test that by clicking on the start button. So now it's actually running. If you see here, this is where actually you can run the refresh button to view the output. So in our case, it's actually running in the backend. It takes some time. So this is where actually Microsoft Sandbox comes into the picture for the execution. So it's actually in the backend, it's actually executing from the sandbox. Once this is executed, I should be able to see the output of hello world. So I can see refresh. See, I got the output as the hello world. So let's say you developed some of the scripts, you can actually go back and have the script to be included so that it can run any kind of automation tasks on your virtual machines or on your Azure resources. That's how it's going to work. I hope this small demonstration would be helpful, so that what you can do is you can actually publish like that, and then you can actually, once it is published, you can, if you want, you can click on start to redo the work so that you can do it, and you can link to a schedule so that actually schedule on a specific time. Let's try to add the code so that the virtual machines can be stopped. For that, what I'm going to do is actually I will be using the existing runbook that we have created. So I'll just edit, and if you see here, this is what we have written, and we got the output earlier. Now I'm going to write for the connection. I've written here the simple code as the connection. If you see here, the connection is going to be use the automation icon name for the run as a connection, and I'm going to connect to Azure AZ Connect. So if I type as the AZ Connect, I need to have the AZ Connect module within my PowerShell or within this specific to automation account. So we'll have a look on that in a minute or so, but for now, if you see here, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to connect to my service principal name, which is associated within my Azure tenant, AD tenant, with the application ID, and I'm going to actually connect with the certificate which is used in this case. Thumbprint is the certificate ID, and then I'm going to actually connect AZ context and going to use the subscriptions, and then this is where the command's actually going to run. Like I'm gonna run AZVM, that's a get Azure VM for my resource group name called Azure Automation Demo. This is a resource group name. Within this resource group name, whatever the machine's name, select as the name, and this is what the name was selected. And for each of the virtual machine, when we selected the computer names or the virtual machine names for each of them, I'm gonna actually stop it passing a command called stop against to my resource group. That's the resource group name, and I'm actually forcing them to stop it. So that's a command which I'm using. I would actually copy paste this code to you within the resource section of this lecture, and once this is gonna actually connect, I'm gonna actually look for all the resource groups. Within that resource group, whatever the virtual machine is there, I'm going to actually force stop it. So let's test this actually by clicking on a test pan. So when I click on start, it's going to actually show me the test results. It's still running, and this is actually running on the backend of the Azure Sandbox. If at all you want to change it, as we talked earlier, you can actually go for the automation worker, which is again the hybrid worker can be actually configured. But let's jump into the portal to see what happened. So I'll just refresh the job streams, and you see here this has been successful and successfully completed without any errors. So let's go back to the edit mode and say publish, so that it's going to actually publish to the actual version. So this has been changed. If you just go back and see, the code exists now, So I'll just go back to this, and now I can actually link to a schedule. That means when I try to link, it's gonna actually have a schedule. So this is the schedule. On that specific schedule, it's gonna actually run. So in this case, the demo VM stop is the schedule what I'm gonna give here. You can give the name that you wanted here. I'm actually giving here as a time, let's say 42, and time zone, whatever the time zone you want to run this. You can also run the recurrence. So in my case, I'm actually choosing the local time zone and click on create. This can actually create a schedule. And parameters, if you have any of the parameters for VM name, all that, because in our case we haven't created anything parameters. Instead we have actually hard coded. So click on OK. That's ready for this. Now this runbook is now linked to schedule. So within this schedule, it's gonna run. You see here demo-vm stop. It's the status is on. So let's go to our virtual machine within that, and you see this virtual machine already in the stop state. I'm gonna actually start this. Now the virtual machine is in a start state, so let's wait for a minute or so to get that schedule to be triggered, so that we know that this virtual machine gets automatically shut down. Post to the schedule, I should be able to find out here the job status. And if you see here, these are the previous jobs that are 2 were completed and 1 was suspended, and it got failed too, and 1 got suspended. All that information you can actually check out here with the more information. So for us, it's actually we are in the VM stop state, and this is still on an on status, and we are waiting for that schedule to be triggered any point from now. In the meantime, you can actually check the PowerShell module. So in our case, actually we are using az.accounts and az.compute. These are the 2 modules we are using. In case if you don't have, you may have to go to the add module, or just go to the browse gallery and type az dot, and then you would be actually getting the accounts as well as the compute specific. So here you can type this az accounts, and then simply import this library from here. And also for az compute, you can type as a compute, let's say compute, and see you have the az-compute, and import this module. And this also has a dependency also. So when you're trying to import, az accounts also should be imported first, followed by az compute. So these 2 were needed to run those PowerShell commands. So that's why my PowerShell is gonna work. In case if you are getting an error as those commands are not relevant or not found, you have to actually import those modules. And in your case, if you're writing your own script, make sure that those commandlets are actually part of which module, and try to import it. Mostly it will be available from the gallery, but it's not imported all the PowerShell galleries or the PowerShell module. So you just have to do the import of those modules. Apart from that, if you're trying to import any of the existing modules, let's say if I just go back to my runbooks, I should be able to see here some of the runbooks that we created, or some of them are default. Let's say these are actually default, and remaining things we actually created, right? And if we want more of them, which is a ready-made solution, so in this case we actually created this az-exam-demo, which is used for in terms of the creation for the virtual machines to be stopped, right? But if you just go to the browsing gallery, there are 2 types of the galleries you have. One would be the script center source, other one would be the PowerShell gallery. Apart from these 2, you can actually create your own runbook, right? Let's see what we have here as the source of this. Let's say in a script center, you have here automatically you can actually use start Azure v2 VMs. So if you want to start the Azure v2 VMs, you can do. You also have stop start Azure virtual machines and a schedule shutdown startup. All that workflows or based things already available and written by somebody else, and this has been downloaded so many times, so you no need to actually create it. Most of them are available. Let's say I want to work with maybe something called Intune specific, autopilot specific. Let's say I might have here something related to the autopilot, or if I want something called update specific, I might be already using something is available. You see here turn on VMs and update management specific. So you have here already those specific modules are already available, and you can straightforward you can use them, but make sure that those specific runbooks might require additional PowerShell commandlets that should be part of your module, and you might have to use them. Let's say I want to run update management turn on VM, so what I have to do is I have to actually use this. So this will be talking, this is an example script for update management, pre or post actions required for thread. So let's say before VM starting and shutting down, it's actually using some kind of jobs that actually executing. So all I have to do is import. That's going to import. Later point I can link to a schedule. So if I just go back to my here, if I just refresh here, I should be able to see here that newly update module. You see here, this is just in the update one, update VMs, which is a new, and turn on VMs with the update. So all I have to do is, once I have imported, all I have to do is I have to click on edit and say publish. So if this is actually working, this code, and then you can actually test it by starting, so that, or you can actually link to a schedule, very similar. This is my link account, and I can use the parameters, and you need to know that what exactly these parameters it is asking from the script. So if you are aware of it, that's good. If not, you just have to edit and understand the script, what it is asking, all that, then you can actually use this existing runbook. So that's how you can use the existing things. And also, if you're trying to create your own workbooks like runbook, you can actually create your type of PowerShell or Python or graphical. Even the PowerShell workflow, even graphical PowerShell workflow also can be created. It's been more than 15 minutes now. Let's have a look on it, how this is working. So we did actually test it with the Azure demo, and let's go to the schedules and see this has been expired. The schedule, if you want to reschedule, you can reschedule, but we are not going to do that. But we would be actually looking at the jobs. So you see here in the jobs, there are two jobs that were executed. The first one is the 22nd, which was completed as the welcome output, if I'm correct. Yeah, hello world. And the second one, which we have completed just now with the current timestamp, and you see here this has executed successfully like we tested. As per the similar testing, it has been successful. Now let's go to actual virtual machine and have a look on, so whether this has been successfully implemented or not. So I'm just going back to that resource group and clicking on that specific virtual machine, and you see here this is in a stop state. So it was successfully stopped my virtual machine without any problem. So my Azure automation account was successful in terms of stopping my virtual machines within that resource group. And I can find here the status. If you see here, there are 3 of them are completed successfully, and you can find the same thing from here, 3 of them. Remaining 2 are failed, 1 got suspended. So that's what we got it out of our runbooks. So that explains the same job statistics here, right? And I hope this entire lecture is useful. I know that it's a lengthy, but it would be easy to understand as long as you start some kind of practice within this Azure Automation account. And upcoming lectures, you can check out the update management here for the updates, and also you need to have the log analytics services that to be created. And I'll catch you in the next lecture. Thank you for watching this.